a little loud. I was getting a little feedback. There we go. That's better. All right. We're going to continue in our series, Fan or Follower. I'm out of jerseys, so, but we're continuing in that series. If you have Bibles, go ahead and go to Matthew chapter 7. We'll be in a couple different verses, Matthew 7, but that's where we're headed. So we've been looking at this difference between fans and followers. So fans are admirers of Jesus, or fans want the benefits of the relationship with Jesus, but they don't really want him to interfere in their life. They don't want intimacy with him. Or, where a follower actually does what Jesus says. A follower actually goes where he leads, and a follower actually surrenders his life to him. So a follower wants intimacy with God. He wants to know him and be known by him. Okay? Those are kind of the ideas. So in Matthew 7, starting with verse 13, Jesus is talking, and he gives this statement about two roads. And we're going to kind of look at the difference in those today. So verse 13. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction. And those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life. And those who find it are few. Okay? So this is pretty short, but it's pretty kind of self-explanatory, right? Two roads. One's wide, leads to destruction. One's small, it's more like a path, and few find it. Okay, so when Jesus is describing this, one leads to life, one leads to destruction, one's wide, right? But there's also these other words he uses, few and many. Okay, so many people will take the wrong road. Only a few find the narrow path. I want that to sink in, because I want us to kind of stop for a second today, right? Because if Jesus says many are on the wide road and only a few are on the small path, we should be asking ourselves, which path are we on? And this really kind of ties to the whole fan or follower idea, because there's many fans who think they're followers. There's many people who are on the wide road when they think they're on the small path. Because if you were to ask anyone, which road are you on, all of us would probably say we're on the narrow path. But even Jesus says only a few people actually find that. Many people are on the wide road. Many people are on the path to destruction. Only a few find it. So if that's the case, we should probably slow down and determine which path we're on. Right? Jesus continues in verse 21. Skip down a couple verses. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. On that day, many, here's that word again, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name? He will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. Now, what we need to understand is Jesus is not talking to atheists. He's not talking to people that don't believe him. He's talking to people that call him Lord. People that know him. People that think they have a relationship with him. People who have spiritual resumes. They attend church. They read their Bibles. Maybe even they have ministry credentials. People who are saying, we're doing all these things in your name, God. And he's going to say, I never knew you. Many, the word again. Many are going to say, look at what we've done. Many are on the road to destruction. So let's slow down. Do an honest reflection of ourselves. So I'm going to ask a few questions today to maybe help you determine which path you are on, whether you're fans or followers. So the first question, does your life reflect what you say you believe? Does your life reflect what you say you believe? Verse 21, if you look at it again. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, that's what they say they believe, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. So does what you do in your life reflect what you believe? Jesus is making that distinction between fans and followers by contrasting the word says with the word does. So a couple examples. Because we live in this time where we become increasingly comfortable with separating what we say we believe and how we live. We convince ourselves that our beliefs are sincere even though there's no impact on how we live. Okay, so here's a couple examples of that. How many of you in here, you don't have to raise your hand, but just think to yourself. I mean, if you want to raise your hand, that'd be fine. How many of you believe it's important to eat right, exercise, and be healthy? See, I don't think there's a person in this room, if we're honest with ourselves, that doesn't believe we should try to eat better, to exercise, who hasn't heard that it's important for us to make some attempt to become healthy. God gave us this body, and he expects us to take care of it. Many of us would believe that. Yet very few people actually do anything to become healthier. Very few people actually eat right. Very few people exercise every day. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, right? We've learned to separate what we believe and how we actually live. I believe I should be healthy. I mean, right? I used to kid with my teens, you know, how do you get this? That's a Dr. Pepper a day. You can be just like me, right? But I know I should be healthier. I know I should try to take care of this body that God gave me. My beliefs and my actions don't line up. Another example. Someone might say, there's nothing more important than family. Nothing matters more to me than spending time with my family. But yet when they're offered promotions that puts more money on the table, but it requires them to spend more time on the job and maybe even some travel, do they take the job? Do they turn down their promotion because my family's important to me? Nothing's more important to me than my family. Yet if they take the job, their actions do not prove what their belief is. They will tell you, nothing's more important to me. Oh, more money? I got to go away this weekend. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not telling you guys not to take promotions. I'm just trying to show you the difference between our beliefs and our actions. Because we've learned to separate the two. Our beliefs may have no impact on how we actually live. So if we apply this to our spiritual lives, we believe we are to be saved by grace. We believe in Jesus. We put our faith and trust in him. We believe we should love God and love others. We believe we should tell others about him. We believe we should help those in need. We confess with our mouths, but very few of us actually confess that with our lives by how we live. I mean, when was the last time you went out of your way to go help someone? When was the last time you helped feed someone? And I'm not talking about giving money to the church so we can go do it. I mean, when was the last time you went and found someone, or you heard of a neighbor in need and you just took some groceries to them, or you heard something about your coworker and you went and you took them lunch, or you took them out to lunch? Like, when was the last time you actually put your faith into action outside of the church body? Does your life reflect what you say you believe? Imagine me and Carrie are going away on a month-long mission trip. Okay? And I ask you to come house sit for me while I'm gone. Before I leave, I hand you a 15-page notebook with detailed instructions telling you how to take care of my house and my pets while I'm gone. So I tell you where my dog's food is. I tell you to feed him twice a day. I tell you when to let him out. You're going to be in my house for a month, so I tell you what day the trash runs. I tell you where my mailbox is because it's not in my house. It's in the neighborhood. So I tell you where it is so you can go get my mail. I write out all these detailed instructions for you. You say, don't worry, we got this. You and Carrie go enjoy your month-long mission trip. No worries. No worries, okay? Now imagine when I come back home and I find my home full of trash because you never took it out. There's mail that won't even fit in my mailbox because you never went to get our mail. Oh, I forgot to tell you about my toilet that doesn't work. Aaron and Andrea know about it. I have a toilet that runs, so we turn the valve off, right? So imagine you forget to do that, and I come home and find my bathroom flooded because the water just never turns off. My dogs are nowhere to be found. Upon looking for them, I find that their food bin is completely full, meaning that you never fed my dogs. When I gather up all the trash and start taking my trash out, I find gravestones in my backyard where you've at least buried my dead dogs. When I go to your house to get an explanation as to what happened, you say to me that the notebook I gave you was very helpful. In fact, you've memorized certain sections of it. When you hand it back to me, I can see you have different areas highlighted. You say you've studied different sections of it every night before you go to bed, even though some of it was difficult for you to understand. What do you expect my reaction is going to be when you say that to me? Do you expect me to hear? Do you expect to hear, well done, good and faithful servant? Or away from me, you evildoer? Jesus has given us a notebook, his Bible. We should study it. We should read it. We should learn it. But if we never apply it, you're no different than someone who completely ignores the instructions I give you when you watch my house. You can make a verbal commitment saying you're going to read my notebook and take care of my property all you want, but it's completely meaningless if you never apply it and actually do what they tell you to do. James addresses this in James 2:14 through 17. What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith, but he does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacking in food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, be warmed and filled," without giving him the things needed for the body, what good is that? So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. So James asks the question, right? What good is it if someone claims to have faith in God, but he has no deeds? James gives us a picture, right? Someone sees a person in need and says, "I'll pray for you, be warm." They can say it with their mouth. "I'll pray for you. I'll pray you get a job. I'll pray God somehow gives you food. I'll pray for you, brother." But if I do absolutely nothing to help you, James says, what good is that? It's this perfect example of saying without doing. James's conclusion, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Dead faith, it's all talk. But a living faith puts that faith into action. So the next question to ask you guys are really silent today. Do you think you're on the right road because of what you've done? It's the flip side of this, right? Because I just said you need to put your faith into action. But now the question is, do you think you're on the right track because of your actions? Because of what you've done? See, some of you might think, Jesus wants me to earn salvation by doing good works. No. You don't earn your salvation because you go and do a bunch of things. Should we be doing things? Yes, but that's not how you earn salvation. So just as dangerous as assuming that what we say alone shows that we are on the right road is the assumption that what we do alone moves us down the narrow road. You need both. If we go back to Matthew chapter 7, verse 22. On that day, many will say to me, "Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, cast out demons in your name, and do mighty works in your name?" So I want you to look at the language that these fans use to defend themselves. We prophesied, we drove out demons, and we performed miracles. Their confidence is in their righteous acts and good deeds. So the day's coming. What do? They show up and they start making a list of the things they've done. Look at what I've done. I preached in your name. I drove out demons in your name. I performed miracles in your name. Look at what I've done. So one of the ways to know if you're a fan more than a follower is how would you respond when you were asked, "Are you a follower?" Because if your mind immediately goes to the fact that you go to church, you put money in the plate, you volunteer from time to time, I read my Bible or I pray, you may be more fan than follower, because all you're doing is making a list of actions. The example of righteousness that Jesus chooses in this passage are crazy, right? I mean, that would impress anyone. How many of you have ever cast out demons? How many of you have ever performed a miracle? How many of you have prophesied? So when we look at that list, we're like, that's an impressive list. Like, I wish I could cast out demons. Or that I've laid my hands on someone and like a total miracle happened, like they just got up and walked. They're impressive things. But Jesus is saying, even with a list like that, you don't get into heaven. Even if you've done every one of those things, that's not what gets you into heaven. You could be a great person who walks around, who prophesies in his name, who touches people, and everyone you touch is healed. And you could cast out every demon you came across. And Jesus says, if that's all it is to you, is just all these actions, away from me, you evildoer. I never knew you. No matter how much good you do, no matter what you accomplish for the kingdom, that's not what makes you a true follower. So ultimately, the question that will define whether you're a fan or follower isn't what you say or what you do. Those things matter, but only to the extent that they reflect the answer to the last question of the day. Do I know Jesus, and does he know me? Do you intimately know Jesus, and does he know you? That's what it comes down to in Matthew 7. It's the dividing line that Jesus identifies in verse 23. He says to the fans, I never knew you. So it comes down to this personal relationship with Jesus where you know him and are known by him. Jesus identifies true followers based upon intimate relationship. What we say and what we do overflow out of that relationship with him. So when I know Jesus and I know what breaks his heart, when I see that, I can put that faith into action. So yes, that action is important. But that action flows out of my relationship with Jesus because I know him and I know it breaks his heart. Or the good things that I do, I come to church and I read my Bible. Do I do that to check it off, or do I do it because when I know Jesus and I know that he loves when I read about him and I study about him, and when I come to a service and I expect to hear from him, out of that relationship, things overflow. What I say and what I do. So slow down for a moment and ask yourself, does Jesus know you? Have you opened up every area of your life to him? Have you given it over to him? Because there's a day coming when many who have said the right things and done the right things are going to hear Jesus say, away from me, I never knew you. I'm not trying to make you paranoid. But I believe what the Bible teaches about salvation. I believe we are saved by grace through God and faith in Jesus. I believe there's nothing that can separate us from the love of God. But I also believe the Bible clearly teaches that there are many who think they are saved who are not. There are many who go through the actions with no faith. Many who can say the right things and give the right answers, but there's no relationship. So I want to help you. I don't want to make you paranoid, but I want you to stop and think. What road are you on? Do you know God, and does he know you? Do your actions reflect what you say you believe? Do you live it out? Jesus is not interested in enthusiastic admirers. He wants completely committed followers of him. He wants a relationship with you. He wants it so bad, he died for you. He knows we're all sinners. We're all sinners who need God to forgive us, who need to repent of our sins and turn to him. So he sent his son to die for us, to pay the price that needed to be paid. That's how much he loves you and wants to have a relationship with you. He died in your place. His body was broken and his blood was shed for you. And I want you to believe that. I want you to put your hope and trust in him. But I also want your actions to reflect that belief. To understand what he did for you. To understand he took my place. He took the death that I deserve. So that should make me want to tell others about him. Because I see where they're headed. I know what breaks his heart as I get to know him, as I read about Jesus. So my actions should reflect that breaks his heart. I know it breaks his heart, so let me do something about it. We're going to head to our prayer time. What road are you on? Where do you think you stand? Take time to honestly think about that today. Once again, not to be paranoid, but I want you to think. Truly think. Do my actions, do what I do, the things that I do, do they reflect my belief in God? Maybe during this, God has laid on your heart someone, or there's some situation that came to mind. Come and pray about it. Ask how you can respond to what God's asking you to do. Or ask God just to give you insight. God, I don't know if I'm on the wide road or the narrow road. Show me. Reveal to me things in my life that might be keeping me from the narrow path. In the Church of the Nazarene, you don't have to be a member of this church to take communion. But we say you need to be a believer. So if you're a believer, we have communion available every week so that you never forget what Jesus did for you. So during our prayer time, we also offer communion where you can come up and just take his body, which is broken for you, and his blood, which was shed for you. And remember what he did for you. 1 Corinthians 11:23. The Lord Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, took bread. When he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, "Cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me. For whenever you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes." We're going to play music. And we just want to take time to respond to how God is speaking to you today. How he's revealing himself to you today. And then when we're done, I will close this in prayer. Respond to how God is speaking to you.